All right, let's talk about a word we all use, probably way too much. Sorry. What's really going on when we find ourselves saying it over and over again? What does it actually say about us?
I mean, really think about it. You're just walking down the street, minding your own business, and someone bumps into you. And what's the very first thing out of your mouth? Oh, I'm sorry. If that sounds even a little bit familiar, you're going to want to stick around. We're about to get into why that happens. For ages, the common wisdom has been that saying sorry too much is a sign of weakness, right? That it means you have low self-confidence. You're seen as too quick to just take the blame for everything. But is that really the whole story, or is there something way more complex happening just beneath the surface? Well, it turns out this whole sorry reflex isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. Psychologists have actually pinpointed three totally distinct profiles. So let's break down these three faces of the compulsive apology. Okay, first up, we have the peacekeeper. This is the person whose sorry is all about making things go smoothly. It's not really an admission that they did something wrong. It's more like a tool they use to de-escalate any situation before it even has a chance to start. And I love this metaphor. For the peacekeeper, saying sorry is like holding up a shield. It just deflects any potential anger, it wards off confrontation, and it keeps the vibe calm and friendly. It's a defensive move. So, when you boil it all down, the most important thing for the peacekeeper is this. Their core motivation is to prevent friction. That apology is basically a preemptive strike against any possible social awkwardness or disagreement. Okay, now let's shift to our second type, which comes from a totally different place inside. This is the low confidence processor. And this is when an apology isn't even about something you did. It's about your very presence. It's like apologizing for taking up space or for just existing in a room. This quote just nails the mindset, doesn't it? In the same way someone might change their voice to sound normal so they don't stand out, this person uses sorry as a kind of social camouflage. It's all about trying to blend in, to not be a bother, to almost become invisible. And that really gets to the heart of it. Their fundamental goal is to take up less space. This type of apology is driven by a deep-seated feeling that their presence is an imposition on others. The sorry is an attempt to shrink, both physically and socially. Now for our third and final type, and honestly, this one might be the most fascinating of all, the hyper-attuned. We're talking about people with a very, very high level of natural empathy. They are constantly reading the emotional temperature of any room they walk into. I absolutely love this description. Just think about it. Their empathy is like a highly sensitive radar, constantly scanning for the tiniest shifts in mood, little micro-expressions or subtle changes in someone's tone of voice. And if that radar detects even a hint of a negative feeling, their immediate assumption is that they must be the cause. So their sorry has nothing to do with admitting they did something wrong. It's actually an attempt to fix a negative feeling they've just detected in someone else. Their goal is to instantly restore social harmony by taking the blame for whatever emotional shift they think they've picked up on. Okay, so let's do a quick recap. We've got the peacekeeper who just wants to avoid conflict. Then you have the low confidence processor who's trying to blend in. And finally, the hyper-attuned whose goal is to ease social tension. Three very different motivations, all for the exact same word. But hang on a second. What if these aren't three separate kinds of people? What if they're actually just three different ways of expressing the very same underlying trait? What's the common thread that connects them all? And this is where it gets really powerful. The research suggests that being a peacekeeper, a low-confidence processor, or hyper-attuned, these aren't separate personality flaws. They are all just symptoms, all pointing to one single core characteristic. And that leads us to the big reframe of this whole thing. It's time to just throw out that old idea of weakness and start looking at this sorry reflex through a completely new lens. And here it is, the big shift. The myth says over-apologizing is a sign of weakness. But the reality? It's often a sign of a hyper-aware, highly sensitive nervous system. So it's not a lack of strength, it's an abundance of sensory input. So here's the bottom line. What all three of these types have in common is a nervous system that is basically hardwired to be acutely aware of social harmony. It's constantly scanning for and reacting to any potential disruption, whether it's real or just imagined. That sorry is simply the system's go-to tool for managing and maintaining that harmony. Which leaves us with this one last thought. The next time you find yourself saying sorry, just stop and ask yourself, is this just a reflex born out of weakness? Or is it your social radar telling you something important about the world around you? The answer to that question might just change how you see yourself.